can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
Hi, I'm Tristen.
Wait, who? What are you doing here? Look at you. You're in the studio, live.
I know, in the flesh.
I know.
Crazy, isn't it?
Well, what's crazy is neither one of us are wearing pants. But yeah, it's crazy that you're here too. Is it drafty in here to you?
Drafty.
Look at you, man. Hey.
What's up?
So, if anyone does not know, and you probably don't, some of you do. I was surprised at how many people know my past. Tristen was part of the Mynock's Nest podcast, the one I did prior to this one. Actually, Mynock's Nest led me to do Prince of the Universe and Saturday Morning Sam Flange, because I got so pissed off that we spent 2 hours and never got to all of our topics. And I was like, we can do better. I can do better. So I started these podcasts because of it. But Mynock's Nest was always fun. We've reminisced about Mynock's Nest on YouTube before, and I had you on the channel not too long ago talking about it. But I'm glad you're here because I wanted to tell a story. I want to tell everyone here. My channel's pretty big now. We're getting close to 8,000 subs. You know, as of this recording, we are not at 8K. So maybe we are now. Please don't bombard the comments saying, Matt, you're at 8K now. Okay, maybe so. But right now, I'm not. I'm just shy of it because Tristen won't sub. Anyway, I'm kidding. Tristen needs to get all of his family members to sub over the holidays.
Big Mexican family.
Not a Mexican family. You know, there's a ton of y'all. So, but Tristen was one of the very first people that I know of who subbed to my channel back when I did my first 3 videos. And the reason I know that, I had 34 subscribers, I want to say, and I was just so upset about Star Wars, the expanded universe. Everyone's talking about lies, about how it was never considered canon, it was all contradictory, you know, all this garbage. And I did one video defending the EU is what I called it. And I was just hot mad about it. Well, then after I did the video, I said, no, you know what? I got more stuff to say about this. So I did a second video. And then I said, okay, now I'm done. I said, well, I actually have a few more things. I said, well, it should be a trilogy. So, and originally that was going to be it. I was going to leave it alone, and that was it. Because I was doing a bunch of board games back then, which is what I still do now. No one realizes this was a board game channel. A very bad board game channel, because it was just board games for me and my gaming group is who only watched it. Those were the 34 subscribers, maybe friends and family and anyone in my gaming group back then. And then I did stupid videos too. We do goofball videos every once in a while. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna talk about Star Wars one more time. And I never talked about Star Wars on my channel prior to this, but I said I'm gonna do one more defending the EU. And so I did it. I said, this is it. I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to go back to board games, stupid videos, but that's it. Well, anyway, I just got so mad because the articles kept coming out. You remember this back in the day. They were just articles saying, it was never considered canon. It was, all contradictory. It had all this stupid stuff in it. I was like, this is so bogus. There's so many lies about this. Well, I'm looking for, I'm searching Star Wars Expanded Universe, and I'm going through every video I can find from upload date. And then I see this kid, he's in his bedroom, and he's talking about the EU. And he's saying all the things that I was saying in my videos. I was like, exactly, yes, exactly. And then Tristen, in his video, says, oh, and there's this guy called Matt Wilkins. Y'all should check him out on YouTube. I mean, he says all this stuff, and he's right about this. And I was like, I remember I sat up in my chair and went, wait, what? Did he just say my name? And I remember I went back and listened to it again. I was like, wait, what? And I went into the bedroom to talk to them and said, hey, Megan, listen to this. And I played that clip. And she went, how's he know who you are? And I went, I don't know. And she goes, where's he from? I said, I think he's from Texas. I said, but how's he know your channel? I said, I don't know. He just name dropped me. And then from there, more and more people started, coming to the channel, talking about the video, and I kept doing a few other videos because I said, you know what, I got quotes, because I definitely defended the EU back during the forums. And so I just took a bunch of quotes from the forums. The forums were around back then still, the old StarWars.com forums. They were still around back then. And so I took a bunch of quotes from those forums and just started giving them out. Now, I didn't want to do too many at a time, so I'd do a few because I didn't like long videos back then. I still don't like long videos today. But I just did, about 6-7 minutes of me just quoting a few things and talking to you what it meant. And toward the end, I got pretty tired of it because I was like, let me just give you all the rest of the quotes I have, because the quotes were kind of repetitive. But I just wanted to show there's so many quotes on this. And, of course, the channel kept growing. And when I got 100 subs, I was like, wow, I have made it. And then I remember when I got 1,000, I went, I'm done. I got the 1,000, so that's it. That's all I need now. I'm done. I'll never get any higher, And I mean, yeah, there's people who get way higher than 8,000 and stuff, but that's still impressive to me, even though it's a smaller number. But you were one of the first ones that I know was watching my channel. Can you tell me how you found my channel? Were you just surfing the YouTube like I was back then?
Yeah, because there wasn't a whole lot of people defending the expanded universe back in those days because,
there was no one.
Yeah, there was no one.
There was no one. I kept waiting for someone to say it differently. Like Nathan P. Butler's Timeline Gold, who is a big proponent of the EU, said, well, Disney bought him. I'm folding up and I'm closing out this series. I'm going to talk about new canon. I was like, wait, what? Say something to all these liars out here. So no one was doing it. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's how I found it because, yeah, nobody was really defending it. People were like, oh, I'm sad, but I'm going to watch the new movies.
Yeah.
And then, read the new books or
just
whatever.
Just waving the white flag, moving on, which I get. But the thing is, though, there was so much misinformation out there.
Yeah. Especially the whole which I didn't even know the whole canon argument was an argument in the first place. People are still saying that to this day, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like because they say, back then they told us, well, only what George Lucas considers canon is canon. Well, really? Because George Lucas says the new Star Wars story isn't his Star Wars. So I guess it's not canon now. And then they want to change and go, well, it's actually what Lucasfilm says. But if it's what Lucasfilm says, then it's always been canon because Lucasfilm was the one saying canon.
Apply the standard all the way.
You got to apply the standard, though, and I still do that. Lucasfilm said it's not canon. Okay, it's not canon now. However, what's his name? Matthew from the Lucasfilm Story Group. Matthew. I can't remember. You know who I'm talking about? Matt
Not
something.
Stover.
Anyway, he got tired of people keep asking the canon. He's like, look, canon is whatever you want it to be. And when he said that, I was like, okay. So it's back to being canon. Because it's whatever the official statement from Lucasfilm. I have always been true to that. I've always gone to that. It's going to bother. Matt Martin, that's his name. Yeah, Matt Martin said that one time on Twitter or something. And I said, let me see the quote. And I saw the quote and I was like, okay. So legends can be canon now. And I'm fine with that. Now, does Matt Martin speak for Lucasfilm? Maybe not, but he is the official spokesperson of the Lucasfilm Story Group that decides what is canon. So, and since he's the only one vocal enough and no one's come out to tell him to shut up and that's not the case, I'll take it. And a lot of people don't like Matt Martin. He does other stupid stuff too, I understand. But the thing is, though, there was just so much disinformation out there. I was desperately trying to find someone to say, hey, that's not true. And there was no one. And that wasn't what my channel was about. My channel wasn't a Star Wars channel. So it became a Star Wars channel overnight because those defending the EU videos got really big. Everyone loved my Dylan has told the story where he watched the building blocks, the Dill Children's blocks story where I talked about the old canon and the new canon. Everyone loves that. I took those building blocks from my little nephews, I remember, because one of them was playing with them and went, Uncle Matt needs these for a little while. I'll bring them back tomorrow. I thought that's a perfect way to show it. But and then of course there's been tons of people who repeat the same thing I say, who copy the same things I say. I've talked about this with Chris, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. It's what's it called? Imitation, the finest form of flattery, I guess. But at the same time, it was refreshing to hear you saying it. But that's because you were watching my videos, I realized. Yeah. But then you knew and you agreed, and I was like, finally, there's someone else. And I don't remember how we met up. Did I reach out to you on your YouTube or something?
I think you may have commented, and then you kind of went from there.
We talked through email, I think, and then you got involved with Tim and Daniel
through the Facebook group.
Yeah, and everyone else, and y'all started your own podcast.
Yeah, well, you were supposed to be on the first episode.
I was supposed to, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened. I was on vacation. So I can't remember what it was. But then you said, hey, I said, okay. And he said, hey, we want you to come back again. I said, sure. And then it's like, well, instead of you just being like the guest, you're just going to be one of the permanent hosts with us. It's like, oh, okay. So, because we had such a great time. And, but it was fun because that was my first foray into meeting Expanded Universe fans, because where I grew up, I was the only one. I mean, Bruce used to, my best friend who lives here, he used to read it, but when a little past New Jet Order, he couldn't catch up anymore. So he kind of stopped reading it, New Jet Order, only because he got busy with work and life and school and everything, and so he stopped reading it. But I could tell him about it. But I didn't know if anyone else who was reading the current ones until, I'm talking to you, and you actually know the Expanded Universe, which is nice and refreshing. So does Daniel. So does Tim. But yeah, so tell me a little bit about this. The early years.
The early years.
Yes. What was it like for you?
Of
the Expanded Universe. How'd you become a fan? How'd you find these groups and everything? What did it feel like? Did you grow up around people who all read it?
No, actually, I didn't even. There's barely anybody who actually played the video games, which that was mostly what I was into, is video games.
And a lot of people love the video games.
Some of the media, like the Clone Wars 03, 05, that type of stuff. I didn't get into reading it until I was like 17. Started out with, I think I'd gotten the Republic Commando and Han Solo trilogy, and I was like, which one do I want to read? Started out reading like Imperial Commando. But as far as, I think my first actual experience, that's actually kind of hard to pinpoint. It's probably, I think, Shadows of the Empire, the video game.
Okay.
I think was my actual first experience.
That's a lot of people's. A lot of people love that game.
Yeah.
Love Shadows of the Empire. That was
Great game.
And Shadows of the Empire was a big boon. Doing this multimedia project where you were playing the video game, says, oh, well, I wonder what else is out there, right?
Yeah.
That's what kind of gets you in there. So you get into the EU, you start meeting all these other people, and I can't remember. I mean, we were talking about this a while back on on one of our streams, but there was Josie and James, who I see every once in a while. He'll pop in and out. I can't remember who else. There was John something. I can't remember, from Michigan. I can't remember.
Sadler?
There's Sadler.
Sadler.
There's John Sadler. There's another John, too, and I can't remember. There's several Johns, of course. But, all those old school people, I don't really keep up with any of them. I mean, if they respond, Tim used to drop a comment every once in a while. So did James. But a lot of those, and some of those early YouTubers who used to do a lot of videos, they're gone, too. I can't remember the names. There was this one girl. Do you remember this girl? She would review the Young Jedi Knight series and talk about how much it was awesome. She loved Young Jedi Knights.
No, I don't.
She'd sit there in her bedroom, and I loved her because she had so much energy. And this is back before they announced the EU as non-canon. And she was so excited that the new movie's coming out. And then she found out that Peter Mayhew's playing Chewbacca, and she went, I guess it's going to be a flashback because he's dead now. I was like, you don't realize it, do you? And then she was so depressed, she closed her channel up and just left YouTube completely. And see, people like that, who knows how many people quit Star Wars that day? They don't even know. Like, I still get people on my channel who say, wow, I just found your channel. It's so refreshing to hear people are still talking about these books. You didn't know? There's a whole movement out there. But the thing is, though, guess what? In their world, they just unplugged. And they went off and did other things. They love the books, but since the books aren't going to be continued anymore, oh well, I'll find something else. It's amazing how many people are like that, still out there today.
Yeah, I guess if you have people on one side of the fence that they're like, it was never canon, you still have those people who...
You still have that too. Right now I have people who are just kind of confused about what's canon and what's not, because they know I love Star Wars. They know my channel reviews Star Wars books, and I'll have friends tell me, hey, have you read this book? And they don't know. No, I don't read new canon books. I have nothing against it. Oh, I heard it's pretty good. Okay, that's nice. I'm not going to read it because it's new canon. I don't care about it. Plus, I hear now the new canon, most of it is just garbage.
From what I'm hearing, I've never finished any of the TV series, even though I have started Ahsoka and Mandalorian. I've only watched.
Did. And
I like the first 3 episodes of The Mandalorian. I haven't watched anything past that, and I did.
So you didn't really like it that much to finish it.
I think it's just hard for me.
What made you get The Mandalorian? Let me ask you that.
Oh, I like Mandalorians. And I heard that, well, they're my favorite faction.
Oh, yeah, they're cool.
And also, I did hear that, what's his name? Who's the guy? I think he was in Daredevil. The guy directing it, Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he actually did his research. And
I like Jon Favreau. I do. I like him as a guy. And he is trying to make the best. And as someone, on this podcast a while back, my co-host, both of my co-hosts from both channels came on this channel here and talked about The Mandalorian. And one hated it, one loved it. And then the exact opposite was true for Book of Boba Fett. One hated it and one loved it. And they switched roles again. Yeah. And we've talked about just about every... I don't know if we talked about Obi-Wan. I can't remember. We talked about Andor recently because Benjamin wanted to talk about Andor. Wes doesn't watch him anymore, I don't think, which is fine. And I don't know if anyone saw Ahsoka. And I don't know all the TV shows that are out there. But if they want to talk about it, I'm fine with them talking about it. And that's the thing. See, that's the thing that people don't really know about us is back in the early days, there was no them and us. People were still watching the new Clone Wars by Filoni or what was the show? Rebels. Or stuff, Like Edward, didn't he used to watch?
I think he watched it, but he just watched it to criticize it. Really.
Oh, okay. I mean, and I don't. I mean, that's anyone's prerogative there, I guess, if they want to do that. But for me, it was always like I don't want to waste my time doing it because I'm just not interested. But I have no problem with anyone else.
Well, that's part of like why I can't really watch it. Like I only watch these shows whenever people get me to. Like I watched Rogue One and Force Awakens against my will, pretty much. Kind of.
What, like Clockwork Orange? They held open your eyes and made you strap you down and watch it?
No, it was...
Was there a safety word to get out?
No. Well,
Hut slime! Yeah.
I didn't want to say no, and like, because my dad and everybody was going to watch Force Awakens, so I didn't want to be like odd man.
Well, you should tell them that no means no. You're a victim.
I don't consent.
I don't consent. My childhood just got raped. Isn't that what they were saying? It raped my childhood.
That's what I was saying.
That's what they were saying there. Yeah. So a lot of people tell me they loved Rogue One, though.
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
I like Rogue One.
You like Rogue One. Okay, that's fine. Again, you know me. I have nothing against this.
No, I hated admitting
Force
it.
Awakens. But that's fine. There's nothing. And the thing is, you can still like the expanded universe and admit that there are good things in the new canon. I'm fine with that. I'm not interested in the new canon. It doesn't make me interested in it. Anyone says, oh, Matt, I know you don't like it, but this is actually pretty good. Okay, that's fine. I'm not interested. I'm just not. In the kindest sense.
Right.
I'm not like, no, because you sully yourself, Tristen. You know what? You're not allowed to sleep here tonight, I think. In fact, you can sleep outside with the dogs because you like Rogue One. No, I don't care. In the kindest sense, I don't care.
Like, it doesn't bother you.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Man, I think it's better than the expanded universe. I mean, okay, all we're doing is we're disagreeing on perceptions and opinions. We can have opinions all day about movies, TV shows, books, and whatnot, and I don't think anyone's going to win because you like this and I don't. But that's basically all it is. And I don't have a problem with that. And I don't think I'm better than any other EU fan. I don't think, Tristan's not a pureblood because he has sullied himself in the new canon. I don't think that either. I don't think that at all. You love the EU just as much as me, and I've been very clear on this on my channel before. But I like that you're admitting this now. I mean, it feels better just to get it out. But let me ask you this: my brother, when he saw The Force Awakens, he loved it, and he told me, he said, "This is good. You're missing out." And then the next week, he came to me. He's like, "I'm sorry. I was wrong. Now that I think about it, that's got to be the stupidest movie I've ever seen." And it fooled him. He said it fooled me into thinking it was a good movie. But he said, as I started thinking about it, I was like, no, that's a terrible movie. He said story-wise, it was just terrible. The pacing, the acting, he said everything was off. But he was having so much fun watching the movie that he just didn't. I have an example of this, the Alien movie, Prometheus, the sequel.
Oh, that one.
I really loved Prometheus when it came out. And then a week later, I hated the movie because I realized none of it made sense. None of it made sense, but I loved it when it came out. The movie fooled me, because I was enjoying my popcorn, eating my popcorn, watching my movie, and having a good time, but then realized later on the movie didn't make it. So that's how my brother felt about Force Awakens, but you didn't like it at all.
I mean, I kind of fell asleep through it, I'm not going to lie, but I felt kind of like an asshole because my dad paid for the tickets, but I mean, I don't know, even the bit that I did see, I just didn't care for it. Even falling asleep through the movie, I was like, this is just a rehash of the original trilogy, but in one movie.
A buddy of mine, Dwayne, told me that he watched it with his kids, and his kids loved it, but he said that the whole time and going, this doesn't feel like Star Wars. That's what he said. Is that what you were feeling too?
That's how I feel about everything I watch, really, is that it's not Star Wars. Oh, but actually, back to your point.
Oh, go ahead.
So, that how they pulled the wool over fans' eyes, you know how they did that, right? It's basically nostalgia goggles, because they would use, like, certain imagery, like, basically recreate it from the original trilogy, like how they did Luke with the lightsaber in the cave.
Yes.
That's just one example I can think of, but they do multiple things like that throughout that.
Yeah, remember movie. Berries. Everyone puts that in there. They put the all nostalgia in there to make you think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bait and switch now. It's a common one. Professor Geek talks about this all the time on his channel, if you watch his channel. But the thing is, though, when Dwayne was telling me, because I asked him if he liked the movies, he went, not really. He said, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. I said, okay, well, if I might, can I suggest a book series to you? And I suggested Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire book series. And so he read that trilogy, and he told me, he's like, wow, this feels like Star Wars. And I was like, yeah, I know it doesn't. He's like, no, this feels like the original series, trilogy. I said, yes, I know. That's what got me into Star Wars. And, and again, I can't speak for what the new canon does or doesn't for people, but I know I'm just not interested in just knocking the whole sandcastle down and starting all over again. That's originally the reason I was stopping. I was like, I'm not going to start all this over again. I'm free. If they're not going to make any more, then they won't get my money. But I mean, Star Wars was getting all my money back in the day. I mean, any book, any children's book, any comic book, any magazine with a short story, I had to have it all, I was buying it all. And now, I saved that money. Well, no, I use that money for board games now, but the thing is, though, that's how it went. It lost my interest, lost me, so... But that's kind of what these new books feel like. They feel like the original series, or the Legends books, I should say. So my question to you is, has there been anything in the new canon? A lot of people told me Rogue One feels like Star Wars. Does it feel like Star Wars?
I don't think any of it feels like Star Wars, not to me.
So you think it was decent for the new canon story is what you're saying when you say it was good?
Yeah.
Is there anything else? You like The Mandalorian, at least the first 3 episodes.
that I've watched.
And then Rogue One. Is there anything else?
I mean, I kind of like Ahsoka so far, but... Ironic, isn't it? No, actually, I think...
See, I can hate someone for that, though. I'm kidding. My feelings on Ahsoka. That hasn't changed. Even back in the day when it was so uncool to hate against Ahsoka, I was hating against Ahsoka. So, but you know what? I don't think any of my co-hosts have watched the Ahsoka TV show either. No, never mind. Benjamin from Saturday Morning Salmon Flange has, and he's in his. Now, did you watch it all, or you just watched the first episode?
I watched like the first 3.
Okay.
Again,
he says overall it's garbage. It feels like it feels like a live action cartoon, and it feels silly and dumbed down. And he says it's atrocious. If he wants to do a podcast on it, we'll do a podcast on it. I'd rather not talk about new canon because I don't have anything to say. So, yeah. But if he wants to do a podcast on it, we'll do it. And I guess I need to ask Wes if he's seen it, but Wes doesn't watch many. Wes may have just given up on Star Wars, which is fine too. Wes, my regular co-host. But anyway, so all right, so you're basically those are the only things. The first few episodes of The Mandalorian and Rogue One. Other than that. Do you still? Let me ask you this: are you still reading the expanded universe? You've had your life has gotten really busy.
Yeah, it has, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. No, I've actually been reading Tom Clancy, but
okay, right on.
I've tried so hard to read Crystal Star. It is so hard. That's
I don't know why you want to torture yourself.
I tried listening to the audiobook and then I just kind of got distracted and decided.
You know, it's interesting because as much as I hate on Crystal Star, and I called it one of my 10 worst EU books of all time, I'll be honest, folks, when I do my next year, I'm going to probably redo my top 10 worst books. Crystal Star will not be on there.
Top 3?
Not because Crystal Star is a good book, but because there are so many atrocious books that are worse than Crystal Star. I had no idea. Well, you read Crystal Star, it's not good. But now that I know the context of it, Von Dam McIntyre was a Star Trek fan. She was a Star Trek author. That's what she wrote. And when she writes for Star Wars, it feels like she's writing for Star Trek. She just misses the whole point of what Star Wars is about. And that's why it doesn't feel like a Star Wars novel. And I get it now. But all hail the Great Walrus. And when they all go swimming inside of him, which I don't know how that is, big gelatinous cube, just go
meat cube.
Yeah, but he, Han, Leia, Luke, they all dive into Waro and have a grand old time, and that's really weird and not awesome but awful. But he isn't. He is, as Joe Bongiorno's book says, he is an extra dimensional being. What does it even mean? But of course, in Joe's book, Supernatural Encounters, he says because of the existence of Waru, that there are other dimensions. Yes, there are. So this is how he ties new canon with old canon. It's just the same. It's just an alternate universe. There's a Marvel comic book, an old Marvel comic book, where Lando goes into an alternate universe because it was the late 70s, early 80s, and everyone was smoking crack back then. And then there's, of course, West End Games came out with Other Space, a story that I really love about these aliens who come from another, an alternate universe, and they rip a hole through our universe, and they've destroyed their universe, and now they want to destroy another one.
No, not the Yuuzhan Vong.
And no, they're called the Charon. It's a really good, interesting story. It's not a book. They just tell you the makeup of the story, the background, how the adventure will flow, because you're trying to stop the Charon from invading our universe or our reality. And it's really good, and I've always loved it. But yes, it does lean to the conclusion that there are alternate universes. And when Joe and I kind of playfully debated this, I said, look, the only reason I'm going to accept that is if you're saying the Charon invaded the new canon and just totally obliterated it. Then I'm fine. But I'm not a big Ahsoka fan. Did you hear how I think Ahsoka should die in the EU? If I was to write, let's say the EU were to continue, and I got to decide Ahsoka's fate. You know how she'd die?
You know what? Yeah, let's hear it again. I think you've told me, but I don't remember.
Okay, everyone knows this, but she tripped. She's walking through the forest. She trips over a hujib, the little bunny rabbit creatures. She's going to fall down a hole and break her neck. Now, we find out later on that it's not a hole, it's the latrine that was dug by the hujibs, and that's where they poop and piss. And so then, without knowing that Ahsoka's in there, she just gets covered in hujib poop and piss, excrement, and no one ever cares. The end. I hate Ahsoka so much. Here lies Sky Guy, I don't know. I didn't know. She's just awful. She's an awful character. Filoni loves her. Well, Filoni tries to make her like the next greatest thing in this TV show, I hear. Like, she can do anything. She's going to beat Luke.
Yeah, that's kind of what they do seem like they're gearing up for. I don't know. My eyes are on Sabine Wren.
Do you mean the actress?
Yeah, the actress.
There it is.
That's the only reason I watched
now the real reason. But by the way, I don't care if someone loves it too. I just feel that that's hard. In fact, by the time this has come out, hopefully we have done, because I'm recording these a lot earlier, folks, because of the holidays. But the next More Civilized Age is going to be putting Ahsoka on trial and bringing in people who love her, hopefully, or maybe hate her. I don't know. And talking about her, because I do want to hear an opposite opinion, but I just don't see any redeeming qualities in Ahsoka. I just don't. What does the TV show do to make her likable?
Oh no, that's a good question.
So it's just, what's her name? Sabrina?
Sabine.
Sabine Wren. Sabine is the only reason you're watching the show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, never mind.
Well, I'm just joking, but no, because my co-host Lance, who you met on,
Yes!
yeah, he got me into the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that because whoever you hang out with, they kind of influence what you watch at times too. I had roommates that did it all the time. The only time I watched Smallville was when Steven was my roommate. When he left, I didn't watch it. When Will was my roommate, I watched South Park. When he left, I didn't watch South Park anymore. So yeah, I get that. But anyway, all right, so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being on the podcast here.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you as well.
Let's put our pants back on. Let's do something creative, okay?
All right.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.